Have you ever wanted to declutter, but the thought of decluttering was overwhelming just because you felt like you had no time or energy to commit to it? That was definitely a problem that I had to work through. And today I want to share with you 3 mindset shifts that I think could help you if you are currently struggling to declutter when you feel like you have no time or no energy. The first mindset shift that might be helpful for you is to learn to say no. And this is a hard one, okay? I get it, especially if you have a family with multiple people. There might be many obligations that you have throughout the week. I encourage you just to take a look at your calendar. You can hire out tasks and redeem some time back that way. But if you have a need to declutter and you have no margin in your calendar, you are not creating the time or space to deal with the task, with the goal that you have. If you don't have margin in your calendar, that decluttering goal is just likely to not ever get done. There is always something that you can say yes to on the calendar. There is always going to be something that you can join or do or sign up for or be at or go to. And it's such a wonderful gift to have so many options. I would encourage you, if you find yourself feeling anxiety in your home because of the clutter, make decluttering a priority for a season. For just a season, say no to the extra. Obviously, do the things that you have to do, you need to do that are important. Prioritize those. But before you commit to the extra outings, the play dates, before you commit to signing up for the volunteer position, I would just encourage you to take a season and say no to everything else until you reach these decluttering goals. And the beautiful thing is, once you reach your decluttering goals, once you hit maintenance mode, the time that you needed to spend decluttering, you no longer need. And so all of a sudden, once you've hit an inventory level that feels manageable to you, it doesn't feel like too much, then you feel like you have a little bit more capacity to say yes to the things that you wanted to say yes to. And so I understand that it might be difficult for a season to say no, but I would encourage you to just take a look at your calendar. So often, our calendars are filled to the brim with events and places to go and people to meet that we don't have margin. If the clutter in your home is affecting your ability to have peace in your home, or if it's affecting your family's life, I would encourage you just to make this a priority for a season. You are going to feel the peace that comes when you have margin because you don't have this decluttering goal weighing in the back of your head. Me, at the beginning of my decluttering journey, I had a lot of young kids at home and I was a stay-at-home mom and I felt like I was drowning in stuff. And so often what I would do to get away from the stress that I felt in my home is I would try to get out of the house. I would try to get to a play date, or I would go impulse shopping, or I would get the kids out and go to a new park or whatever it was, go on a walk. And inherently, those things aren't bad, or maybe impulse shopping. But generally speaking, the things that I was doing weren't bad things, but I was saying yes to so many other things that when I got home and realized that I hadn't made any progress on the clutter, it just made me feel more weighty and more like, ugh, I still have to do that. I still haven't got rid of that thing. So I would encourage you to be intentional on the things that you say yes to. Always, but specifically if you are working towards decluttering your home, working to bring your inventory down to make it more manageable. There is so much freedom that comes as you get rid of the things that aren't serving you, that it is well worth saying a few no's. And again, the whole goal is not that we would say no forever. It's just for a season, just to get to maintenance mode, just to get to a place where you feel like you are not drowning in stuff. So there's so many good things about saying no for a season so that you can say yes to accomplishing your decluttering goals. Maybe you have felt overwhelmed because you've been working so hard towards this decluttering goal that you are actually working yourself towards overwhelm. So decluttering, when you think about it, is really like decision after decision after decision after decision. And so it's no wonder that at a certain point, your body will hit, your brain will hit decision fatigue. And if you can be aware of this, we all have different capacities. We all have different energy limitations. Some of us may be able to work for like 10 minutes and that's it. And after that, our decision fatigue kicks in and we no longer can make quick, efficient decisions. Some of you may be able to work like 3 or 4 hours or more. The important thing is that you tune into what your body and your brain is telling you. There's so many factors that can affect decision fatigue, like if you've gotten a good night's sleep, if you're hydrated, if you are nourished, have you eaten a good meal? But cluing into these things is helpful because the reality is that decluttering is not like a mindless task, right? It's hundreds of little decisions, often made one right after another. And so decision fatigue is real. And really not helpful to try to push through that. I know sometimes the decluttering goal is so big and you're just like, if I could push through it and just get through, sometimes pushing through can be helpful. Maybe you are on your last little corner of your home. You've decluttered everything except for this one little corner. You might have enough motivation to push through to finish the challenge. But if you find yourself with multiple spaces that need decluttered, and you are constantly trying to push through, it's going to lead to burnout. And I would encourage you to consider that the result of pushing through when you're exhausted, physically and mentally drained, isn't actually helpful to your end goal of having a decluttering lifestyle. Like any muscle, your decision making, your like decluttering muscle gets fatigued. And so rather than just trying to push through, I just highly encourage you to see it for the precious resource that it is. Make sure that you are nourishing it by getting good food, staying hydrated, getting good sleep. At the end of the day, have some grace for yourself. If it takes you longer to get your decluttering goals done, that is okay. The goal, again, going back to the last video where we were talking about our inner critic, the goal is to shoot for intentional improvement, not perfection. So the last mindset shift that might be helpful if you are feeling overwhelmed and feel like you can't declutter because you don't have time or energy is to stop waiting for a marathon and start looking for tiny pockets of time. It's very easy, especially if you're in a home where you feel overwhelmed and you know you have a lot of things that you need to declutter or donate or sell. It's very easy to think, "Ugh, I need to commit an entire weekend and just tackle the whole space." And while, yes, if you were able to commit 3 full days or 2 full days to decluttering your space, you absolutely might see great progress. You might even finish your goal. But for most of us, our schedules are so packed that the likelihood of having an obligation-free weekend is very slim. And let's be honest, most of us don't want to use our spare time just to declutter, right? We want to live life, live with our family, make memories. The mindset that is kind of occurring in our head is all or nothing. If you don't have time to do it all, don't start. It can kind of link with that procrastination, perfectionism, and procrastination mindset. But what I'd encourage you to do instead is say, I don't need a whole marathon weekend. I don't need 2 full days to declutter. I can do it in tiny pockets of time. And really how this has been so helpful in my own decluttering journey as I've turned this into a decluttering lifestyle is it's helped me to see it's not a one-time event, but it's these small, daily, weekly, consistent choices that compound over time to yield great results. What it's helped me to do is to stop looking for 5 free hours on a Saturday and rather look for moments that I have free that I really have been wasting. So, like an example might be you're in the kitchen, you're cooking dinner, and you just put the pot on to boil. So you've got 8 minutes. before the water boils. In that 8 minutes, you actually have quite a bit of time. If your house is anything like mine, you might have a broken kid's toy on the counter that you know can't be repaired, you know it can't be fixed, so it just needs to be tossed in the trash. And 8 minutes is plenty of time to do that. Or maybe you're in the kitchen making your meal and you realize that you're not using this avocado slicer that someone so kindly gave to you. Instead, you find yourself reaching for just a regular paring knife. And so maybe you take that 8 minutes after you toss the kid's broken toy and you've got 7 minutes left now. You can walk the avocado slicer to your donate bag. When we look for these moments in time throughout our day as we're doing things, we start to notice what is being used, what's serving us in this season of life, and what's not being used. Some other moments that I like to use is like as you're getting ready or as your kids are getting ready, maybe you notice something no longer fits. And instead of waiting for some day when you might declutter, just go ahead and take that item that no longer fits, or that item that the elastic is worn out and the pants are falling off your kids. Like, take it and go put it in the trash or put it in the donate bin. You now have one less item in your house that wasn't serving you. If you're a homemaker, maybe you are waiting for the laundry to dry and you've got 15 minutes, and you can take 15 minutes to declutter that junk drawer. Oftentimes, at the end of the day, we're pretty tired and we might not want to declutter, but at the very least, one thing that you can do is take 10 minutes before you sit to relax, before you sit down, veg out on Netflix, take 10 minutes and just do a family reset. Work together, put on some music, put on a timer, work together to get things into their home. And then that way, at least when you wake up the next morning, you've had a bit of a reset and you're not waking up to a bunch of stuff out that you used the day before. You may have heard, don't put it down, put it away. And I actually prefer, don't make it lost, get it to its home. I like reminding myself this because don't make it lost means I'm making it a lost item, right? That in my trim decluttering method, we have to rehome lost items, items that didn't make it to their home. So don't make it lost, get it to its home reminds me that I don't want to just put this thing down anywhere. I want to get it to its home so that later on, I don't actually have to rehome it. It's just quicker to put it away, put it in its home right off the bat. It's also like a prompt. So if it's an item that doesn't have a home, when I think don't make it lost, get it to its home, I might look at the item and go, I actually don't have an assigned home for this item, in which case I might need to go assign one. Or it might make me think through the item a little bit more and is it serving me right now? If I haven't assigned it a home, maybe there's a chance it hasn't been used and maybe it's something that I can let go. So don't make it lost, get it to its home is really helpful. And it's like taking those 2 extra steps, right? It's like walking the 5 extra feet, getting the clothing into the laundry bin. It's like taking the 30 seconds extra to like rinse out your cup and put it in the dishwasher. By looking for these little pockets of time, we can get things to their home, and that actually helps eliminate that visual clutter. But that's just like the things that we use every day, right? And so you may find yourself with a closet full of things that maybe you haven't touched in 6 months or a year or 3 years. And again, the same principles can be applied. If you set your timer for 10 minutes at a time, or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever time you have allowed, and you go tackle that space and you deal with each item as you come across it. If it's trash, tossing it, rehoming it if it's lost and it needs to go back to its home, identifying what's serving you. So identifying if it's something you need to assign a home to and finding that home, or thinking through maybe it's not serving you and maybe it's something that you can let go. And as you take one item at a time and deal with that item, walk it to its new home, walk it to its assigned home, walk it to the location you know it's supposed to be, but for some reason somebody got lazy and dropped it there. Go walk that and you'll see in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the progress that you make. And maybe that's all the time that you have allowed. Maybe you got to go pick up the kids from school, but you know what you just did? You just intentionally improved that closet. And so tomorrow, when you get another 15-minute window or 30-minute window, you're going to want to go back to that closet and you're going to want to make more progress. And eventually, it might not be in one day, it might not be in 1 week, but eventually you will be able to make your way through that closet. Going back to the other perfectionist mindset, the goal isn't about completely doing your space all at once. The goal is about intentionally improving your space, improving it from when you first started decluttering. And so, friend, I want to encourage you, when your mind is telling you you don't have the time, you don't have all weekend to commit, don't bother, reset that mindset and shift it to thinking, you know what? I can't do the whole thing today, but I can commit to 5 minutes. I can commit to 10 minutes, and I can look for these tiny pockets of time. I hope that you feel encouraged by some of these mindset shifts that we talked about today. I hope that you can see that you don't have to be a victim to the amount of time that you have or your energy levels, but rather you can tune in, fine tune those dials, and tune into how much time and energy you have. And you can see real results over time. Always, thanks so much for sharing your time. And if you're a new subscriber, I'd love to meet you. Make sure to comment down below in the comments so that I can get to know you a little better. I'd love to know what subscriber number you were and what brought you here. And I'd love to know if there was any mindset shift today that resonated with you, either with something that you've struggled or if you had an aha moment. I would love to hear just what has your brain clicking. Yeah, I want to hear what's got your wheels turning. Make sure to subscribe so that you can catch part 3 in this series where we're going to talk about decluttering rules you can ignore or you should ignore and how to overcome your fears. Thanks so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.